Why do you think PhD is difficult? Since 1 year I was trying to understand. Stress, sleeplessness, tiredness, irritation are all a part of PhD. And this stress is generated because of several reasons. One of the reasons is that in PhD you have to continuously deliver. You have to update your professor regarding the ongoing work. You have to give frequent updates to your collaborators. You will have reviews in your department. So PhD is also like a showmanship. You have to do all the core technical things as well as work on your presentations. So even though it's a PhD, saying correct things at the correct time, representing yourself and your work, bringing out the efforts elegantly is something outside technical that you need to work on. Just like in business, communication, strategy, and timing are important to crack a deal, these three things are also important in PhD to keep the collaborations alive, to prove yourself, and to keep getting the funding. So hi, I'm Sanika and I'm pursuing PhD from Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore. I've created this YouTube channel to talk about PhD and share my experiences as I advance through the journey of PhD. So, in research as a profession, it is important to deliver results in time. But the problem that I always faced was, what should I do now? I need to read the literature, I need to do the experiments, I need to characterize and collect the data, I need to analyze it, I also need to write the paper and publish my work. And all of this never happens in this particular order. I'll read the literature, I'll do the experiment, it fails. I'll again go back to literature, I'll again try to do the experiment, it will still fail. I'll try to characterize it, analyze it, why it is failing. I'll again go back to literature, try to understand. I'll do the experiment, it will still fail. And so this way I keep going back and forth in experimenting, reading and analyzing. The question is, how long should I keep doing this? Because in this surprise world of PhD, things will always keep changing. So in this surprise world of PhD, there will be constant changes. Some work needs to be repeated, some work takes more time than expected. I get a new idea that I want to work on. So there is always pending work. And there comes a time when all of it is half cooked and you need to finish it all. And when all of this is going on, suddenly a presentation pops up. The conference deadline closes in. Your collaborator asks for an update. So now, like I said before, it is important to present your work effectively. So now I need to work on completing all the pending work so that I can present it, and I also need to work on presenting it effectively. Moreover, in PhD, generally 2 or 3 projects go on simultaneously. So with all these projects, half-cooked experiments, half-cooked data, half-cooked analysis, it really becomes overwhelming to think about all the things that I need to do. And I cannot finish it in one day, I cannot finish it in 1 week, neither can I finish it in a month. So where should I start? How do I still deliver in time? So what should I do to deliver things in time? Obviously I need to plan and prioritize things. Okay, I'll look at all the aims, I'll write down all the steps that I need to do, I'll jot down all the pending work. It's a long list. So I then put it under respective projects. I'll segregate it according to the type of work, and then I'll look at the deadlines, I'll see what I need to present, and accordingly I'll prioritize what I should be doing now. So now I have a nice 4 weeks plan. But does it work? Has it ever worked? 1 week into the plan and I need to repeat the experiment. My sample was not prepared properly, so I need to rescan it. The machine had some issues, so I need to reschedule it. And these things cannot be predicted unless you have come back from the future. So there goes my 4 weeks plan haywire. So what is the disadvantage of being in this situation? I get caught up in the 3 R's of research: repeat, read and reschedule. So I start off with a good plan, with a good aim, that I wanted to study the effect of processing on the grain size. So I need a good sample, then I need to check the grain size, and then I need to analyze it. So let's start. It's Jan. Design the experiments. 2 weeks gone. It's mid-Jan. Learn to operate the machine. 1 month gone. It's mid-Feb. And now starts the interesting part, to get the defect-free sample. So this needs optimization of the parameters. And then I'll enter into the 3 hours of research. Do experiment, it will fail, I'll read literature, analyze everything. And it's finally March end when I get the defect-free sample. But I have the sample, but as the time passed, I forgot the original aim with what I started. The original aim faded off my mind. So when I had the samples, I was wondering, what should I do with it? Why did I do all this? And so when this happened to me for the first time, I spent a lot of time being confused and stressed, deciding what I should be doing now. Eventually, when I sat down and I thought about it, I got it that I should be doing characterization next. But 1 week was gone until I caught up. So the funny part was that I had the same thing written a few pages back in the same notebook, but 3 months ago. And that is when I realized that a constant reminder to reinstate the original plan was must. If I plan, I must remember it. Studying the effect of processing on the grain size was a multi-step process. Processing the sample, characterizing and then analyzing it. But I got caught up in the first step for months together and I lost focus of the original plan. That is when I stuck a note on my desk: plan, execute and remember. I stuck another note with the actual plan on the desk, and this is the idea I suggested in the book Atomic Habits, to get it into the subconscious mind. So it was very obviously visible to me and it would act as a constant reminder. So now I won't forget the original plan, but like I have said multiple times before, the original plan is sure to get disturbed. 1 week into the original plan and something new appears. What happens because of this? It tries to wriggle in the current week. I am now trying to accommodate that I need to overwork. Or for every new thing that is accommodated in this week, one task gets kicked out to the next week. So while continuously accommodating all the new things that come along, the work that was originally planned for 1 week takes 1 month. So continuous changes to the original plan need to be made. Simply planning once and sitting back doesn't get me through the situation. So that is when I started using Excel or Notion in laptop or notes in phone to keep track of my things. These things can be easily edited and the changes in plan can be accommodated. But for this thing to work, it is important that I have the habit of checking my laptop or my phone before I start working. And to do this, I need to allot consciously some time every morning, maybe 10 minutes or maybe 30 minutes, to take an overview and plan things out. And this is what I'm going to talk about in the next video. The other 2 points, that is making a to-do lists and allotting time to plan. So what happens when I get caught up in the 3 hours of research? My mind is too busy trying to decide what to do next. It's so full with the half-cooked things that it misses opportunities. What if a new opportunity walks in? It's a chance to make new collaborations. It's a chance to add new work to my CV. But the busy mind misses all this, whereas a free mind can grab the opportunity. Who gets the opportunity? The one who grabs it first. So by planning every day, I can effectively accommodate the new things in my work week. So I can spend enough time and start working on it as soon as possible. Most importantly, without disturbing my original work. So what also happens when I get too caught up in the 3 hours of research? I focus too hard on the problem at hand. I focus so hard that I fail to judge the importance or relevance of that problem. How much in depth should I go? How much time should I spend on it? When I started processing, I was going back and forth between experimenting, literature and analysis. How long should I keep circling like this? When I have the original plan, that is checking the grain size and doing the analysis, in my mind, I can automatically answer all these questions. The depth. Since or this processing was already done by previous researchers, and optimizing the parameters wasn't going to be a groundbreaking discovery. Just enough knowledge to get a good sample was enough. It also helps me assess how important part this is of the whole work. Moreover, having an idea of how long I have to go, how far I have to go, I can speed up the current work also. And once I have the samples ready, I also have the idea what I should be doing next. So having a goal really does help. So something more on how remembering the goals can help you get better solutions. So I was trying to cut a few plates. We usually do it on the bandsaw, but the blade for the bandsaw was broken. How much time should I spend getting it repaired? Spending a week to get the bandsaw repaired would be foolish. But similar foolish things happen when the goal is not clear. Here the main goal was to get the plates cut, and I could easily get it done somewhere else. So when I was focusing on the main goal, which was cutting the plates here, I could easily think of other options to do it, rather than focusing on repairing the bandsaw. So for every problem, I can adopt the approach which is called as design thinking. In this approach, I come from a narrow road that I was currently following, like repairing the bandsaw, towards a broader area, that is cutting the plates. So now I have a relatively global question to think on, and I can think of multiple ways to solve it. So instead of going to repair a bandsaw, which would have been the usual solution, I could also think of the other way, that is cutting the plate somewhere else. So this broader area or the global question is called as the catchment area. And one of the ways to remember all the options to solve a particular problem is to stay in this catchment area. And one of the ways to stay in this catchment area is to stay focused on the goals. So remembering a goal reinstates the original curiosity with which I started out. It gets me back the motivation. It gives me an overall sense of direction. On the road to reach that goal, it tells me where to focus on. It tells me how big or small would the solution to the current problem contribute to the main goal. Basically, it tells how important it is to solve the problem, and it helps decide the priorities. It also helps me think about the parallel ways to achieve any goal. But that's not it. It doesn't solve all the problems. This long-term goal gave me an overall sense of direction, a broad vision, but that was not enough. With long-term goals, maximum I can plan is monthly goals. But I realized that a list is very much necessary for each day, each week, because weekly and daily plans are the most affected by the surprises that each day in PhD offers. So if you like this video, put it in the comments, give a thumbs up and share it with your friends.